Hello everyone, I'm Bubbles from Susan's family. Today, I will introduce the Retro Era series, the Noblewoman blouse. It consists of the main body, the edging, and tassels. First, crochet the main body. After completing it, then do the edging and make the tassels. The main body is divided into two parts and joining. First, crochet each part, then join them. Both parts have two identical pieces each. The large triangular area in the middle is the first part. The sides are the second part. Let's start by learning how to crochet the first part. We will start with the foundation chain. Crochet back and forth along the chain. The stitches used include chain, double crochet, single crochet, FPDC, DC2 tog, FPDC2 DC tog, and treble crochet. Now, let's show the demonstration. Start with a foundation chain of 7 chains. Next, we'll work H1. Chain 4 to start. In the 8th chain from the hook. Pick up the back loop of the stitch. Work 1 double crochet. Then chain 2. Skip 2 stitches. Work 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 4. Then in the same position as the last double crochet, work another double crochet. This completes H1. Let's take a look. Take the right side of this row as the right side of the entire piece. This is the side where the starting tail is on the left side. Now let's work H2. Start with 3 chains as the beginning chain. Then turn over. When working back and forth in rows, remember to turn over after completing a beginning chain. Work 8 double crochets into the left chain space. After that, work 1 double crochet in the next adjacent stitch. Pay attention after turning your piece. The stitch is at the upper left. Work 2 more chains. Then crochet a symmetrical stitches to the right of these 2 chains. That is, work 1 double crochet in the stitch. And work 8 double crochets into the chain space. Finally, on the beginning chain from the previous row, pick up 2 strands of the third chain. And work 1 double crochet. This completes H2. Now let's work H3. Make 3 chains to start. Turn the piece. Work 1 more chain. Then work double crochets along the stitches of the previous row, with 1 chain between each double crochet. The beginning chain corresponds to the last stitch of the previous row. When you encounter 2 chain spaces, work 2 chains. Let's take a look. As you can see, all the chains in these rows are in the middle position. Continue to refer to the chart. Complete this row. At the end, work 1 double crochet into the beginning chain. After completing it, H3 is done. Now let's move on to H4. The crochet method for this row is similar to H3. However, between the double crochets, work 2 chains. Refer to the chart and complete this row. After completing it, H4 is done. Now let's move on to H5. Make 3 chains to start. Turn the piece, then work 6 more chains. Skip one chain space. Work one single crochet in the next chain space. After completing it, work 6 more chains. Skip one chain space and work one single crochet. Continue with this method. When you reach the position of the middle 2 chains, work one double crochet on the double crochets on each side of these 2 chains, with 2 chains in between. Continue to complete this row. After that, H5 is done. Now let's move on to H6. Make 3 chains to start. Turn the piece. Then work the corresponding number of double crochets in the adjacent chain spaces. After completing it, work one single crochet in each of the next 3 adjacent chain spaces, with 6 chains between them. After that, continue to follow the chart to complete this row. Then, H6 is done. Next, everyone follow the chart to complete H7 as well. Then let's move on to H8. Make 3 chains to start. Turn the piece. Work 2 more chains. The chart shows the FPDC next. Since we are crocheting on the wrong side, we need to work the opposite stitch. That means working a BPDC, yarn over, insert from right to left around the second double crochet on the right side of the piece. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over again, and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. This is an incomplete BPDC. Then yarn over and draw through once. That completes 1 BPDC. Chain 2. Work a BPDC around the adjacent double crochet. Chain 2 again. Continue this process. Finish all the double crochets here. After completion, chain 1. Work a single crochet into the next chain space. Chain 1 again. Then continue to follow the chart, and complete this row. For the last stitch, pick up the beginning chain and crochet. After that, H8 is done. Next, everyone refer to the chart and continue until H17 is completed. The crocheting method from here on is almost identical to H5 H8, just with different stitch counts. Please follow the chart for crocheting. Note that in the middle of row 17, also crochet 6 chains. After completing this, move on to H18. Here, I'll demonstrate with a sample, which has fewer rows and stitches. Make 3 chains as the beginning chain. Then turn the piece and chain 1 more. In the next chain space, crochet 3 double crochets. Then chain 1 again. Continue with 3 double crochets in the next adjacent chain space. Refer to the chart and complete this row. Pay attention when you reach the middle chain space. Crochet 6 double crochets here. Between 3 double crochets, add 2 chains. After completing the last 3 double crochets in this chain space, chain 1 more. Then, 1 double crochet 1 into the beginning chain of the previous row. This completes H18. Now follow the chart and continue crocheting until H27. Pay attention. For H24, the placement for the 3 edge stitches is slightly different. Make sure you don't crochet them incorrectly. Next, let's work on H28. I will continue to demonstrate with the sample. Start with 3 chains as the beginning chain. Turn your piece. According to the chart is FPDC2 tog. Since we are crocheting on the wrong side, we will crochet BPDC2 tog. First, work an incomplete BPDC in each of the 2 stitches on the left side. Then yarn over and draw through all the loops on your hook. This completes 1 BPDC2 tog. Now, refer to the chart and continue crocheting until the second to last stitch. Once finished, work a BPDC2 DC tog. First, work an incomplete BPDC in each of the 2 stitches on the left side. Then, on the beginning chain, work an incomplete double crochet. Yarn over and draw through all the loops on your hook. This completes a BPDC2DC tog. H28 is now complete. Next, we will crochet H29. First, refer to the chart and continue crocheting until the second to last stitch. Finally, work a treble crochet. Yarn over twice. Insert into the stitch. Draw the yarn through. Then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. Repeat this 3 times. This completes 1 treble crochet. H29 is now complete. Next, everyone refer to the chart and continue crocheting all the way to the last row before the last stitch. After completing the crochet, you need to work a DC2 tog. Here, I will continue demonstrating with the sample. First, work an incomplete double crochet in this chain space. Then, work another one on the beginning chain. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. This completes 1 DC2 tog. Secure with a chain. Leave a yarn tail and fasten off. Hide the tail on the right side of the last row. Next, everyone follow the same method to crochet another piece. This concludes the first part. Now let's move on to the second part. The second part consists of 2 identical pieces. The crocheting method is the same for both. Both start from the foundation chain and work back and forth along the chain. The new stitch used is DC3 in 1. Now, let's show the demonstration. Start with the corresponding number of chains. Refer to the chart for the exact stitch count. My sample has fewer stitches. After completing the foundation chain, proceed to work H1, chain 3 as a beginning chain. Then, work 1 double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. Treat this double crochet and the beginning chain as a special DC2 in 1. Then, work 2 chains. Skip 2 stitches and work 1 single crochet. Work 2 more chains. Skip another 2 stitches and work a DC3 in 1. That is, work 3 double crochets in the same position. Continue following the chart. Complete this row. Finally, work a DC2 in 1, that is, work 2 double crochets in the same position. This completes H1. Now, let's work H2. Start with a chain. Turn your piece. Work 1 single crochet, then 2 chains. Next, work 2 double crochets into the adjacent single crochet, with 3 chains in between. After completing this, work 2 more chains. Next, work 1 single crochet into the middle stitch of the DC 3-in-1. Then, work 2 more chains. Continue by referring to the chart. Complete this row. After finishing, H2 is completed. Now, everyone continue to refer to the chart. Complete the second part. All the stitches used have been demonstrated before. Just crochet according to the chart. Once completed, crochet an identical piece. This concludes the second part. Once both parts are completed, we will proceed with joining them together. Here, I will use the paper pattern along with the sample. First, let me explain the positions for joining. Start by joining the sides of the 2 first parts. You only need to join from H24 to H38. After that, join the 2 sides of the second part with the last row of the first part. The method for joining remains the same throughout. Here, I will demonstrate the joining using the first part. Take 2 pieces of the first part with the right sides facing out and the wrong sides facing each other. The right and wrong sides of the sample are not for reference. Then, on the edge of H24 on the left side of this piece, pick up the entire double crochet and join the yarn. For better visibility, I use a different color for this demonstration. Make 1 chain. Then, on the right side of this piece, pick up the beginning chain. Slip stitch. The slip stitch here is oval shaped, indicating that it should not be pulled too tight. Make another chain. For the left piece, pick up the entire beginning chain and slip stitch. One chain. For the right piece, pick up the entire double crochet and slip stitch. Let's take a look. Here, the joining alternates between the left and right pieces. Pick up the edge stitches and make slip stitches, with 1 chain in between. For the insertion point of the slip stitch here, you can refer to the chart. Or you can also insert in the approximate position for crocheting. There is no strict requirement. Just ensure that the piece lays flat after completing. Continue crocheting. When you encounter a cluster stitch later, pick up the incomplete stitches and crochet. Continue to finish joining the sides. After completing, leave a yarn tail and fasten off. Make sure to hide the tail on the inner side. This completes one side of the first parts. Follow the same method to join the other side as well. Next, let's join the second part. I will explain using a sample and the paper pattern as well. The crocheting method is almost the same as the first part. You can follow the chart to crochet. For the second part, you will join these two sides to the last row's edges of the two first parts respectively. In total, there are 4 edges that need to be joined. Referring to the chart, you can see that when crocheting slip stitches for the second part, the insertion point is fixed. When crocheting slip stitches for the first part, the insertion point is random. Just make sure it lays flat after you finish. Now, everyone refer to the chart and join the first part with the second part. After joining, you will form the neckline and cuffs. That concludes the joining. Next, we will crochet the edging. This includes the neckline edging and the cuff edging. Both are crocheted in rounds along the corresponding positions. The new stitch used is SC3 tog. Now, let's show. Place the neckline facing up. Then join the yarn in the chain space at the casting on edge of either side. Chain 1. Crochet 2 single crochets in this chain space. Next, work at SC3 tog. Do this in the same insertion point of the DC2 in 1. And in the middle chain space, work an incomplete single crochet in each. Here, pick up the remaining 1-2 strands of the chain. Now there are 4 loops on the hook. Then yarn over and draw through all loops once. This completes a SC3 tog. Then work single crochets in the same insertion points for the chain and for the DC3 in 1. Not need to crochet in the same insertion point for single crochets. Work this round completely. Hide the yarn tail. Then work to the joining point on the other side, and also work at SC3 tog. After completing it, slip stitch to the first single crochet. Pull tight. Leave a bit of tail and fasten off. That completes the neckline edging. Next, let's work the cuffs edging. Refer to the chart. Join yarn at the first stitch of the DC 2-in-1. Make one beginning chain. Then work a single crochet in the same position. Next, work a SC3 tog. The insertion points here are respectively in the double crochet and the beginning chain, as well as at the joining point. Then continue along the last row and complete this round. After completing it, slip stitch to the first single crochet. Now everyone can finish this part on your own. Once it's completed, follow the same method to complete the edging for the other cuff. That concludes the cuff edging. Up to this point, we have finished the edging. Finally, let's make the tassels on the corresponding rows of the first part. At the edge of each row, cut 2 yarn tails about 28 cm long. Fold them in half. Secure them here. The length of the yarn tails and the position where they are secured can be referenced from the finished product. You can also make them according to your preference. Next, please complete them on your own. That concludes the tassels. Up to this point, the shawl has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.